Welcome, one and all. Welcome to Lemon Live at 5, the Don Lemon Show. Boy, I know I say this a lot that we have a very big show for you and it's big breaking news. We really do. Okay, so everybody settle in. Thank you so much. Do what you do with the thumbs up, like and subscribe. We know, okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I get tired of saying it, but we have to say it because it's really important. Okay, here we go. Donald Trump has he's lost it. I don't see where this goes. I don't see how he gets himself out of this one. I don't understand all the people around him who are falling for this nonsense. This is a shit show of shit shows, okay? Settle in, call your friends, text them, and tell them to tune in. I have a lot to play for you, okay? And some of the things are long. Remember, I tell you, not everything I'm going to play is going to be sexy, right? Not everything's going to be provocative. Or you're going to sit here and go, ooh. But some of this stuff is pretty good. Donald Trump has lost it. He's lost the plot. I'm telling you, this man, I don't know what's going on with him. Something is not right. Something ain't right. Something is off, okay? So I'm just going to put up the headline, okay, because Donald Trump this is the worst thing that he has done so far. So Trump goes full fascist, saying, this is a quote, whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. What do you mean whether it's right or wrong? Whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people? What does that mean, Donald Trump? What if you're wrong? Yes, he is deranged, whoever said that in the comments. Lunatics are running the asylum, says Margaret Kellner. 100%. It's crazy. Okay, so settle in, everybody. That is the one headline. And then there's another headline saying from NBC News that Trump's intel chiefs tried to rewrite history. That's what they're trying to rewrite. And they are still smarting and going back to the 2016 election. This goes back to 2016. He's saying that an election was rigged, but he won. Like, what the fuck? What is wrong with this man? Donald Trump. I know that it is really, really frightening for you, maybe embarrassing, or you feel small in comparison to Barack Obama. You can't stand that a black man is smarter than you, has more accomplishments than you, is a family man, has more integrity and dignity. And that's just to name a few. BDE compared to your small hands, tiny DE. I know that this is tough for you, that there can be a black man who is a better president than you. But my God, man, what you're saying does not even make sense in any world. Let me just say, this is all bullshit. It would be laughable if people weren't falling for this. And let me just tell you this, as I have been saying, Epstein. I told you guys that the Democrats or the people who believe in democracy, even if you're a Republican or independent, that should be the focus. Epstein. Every single question should be about Epstein. Because this is where it's going to happen. And you Democrats who are sitting around saying, I'm too good for this story, I don't want to get involved in them. Oh, I don't want to touch this story. You better try to get it. You better try to get your shit together. Because this is where the rubber meets the road for MAGA. Okay? Sit back. Now, sit right back. You'll hear a tale that I'm about to share with you regarding a very small individual, a disgruntled, privileged person who cannot believe that there are people in the world who are bigger, better, smarter, richer, and better looking and have more morals and integrity than he does. So Donald Trump is so desperate to try to change the subject of Epstein that he is now accusing Barack Obama of treason or sedition. I'm not saying that. He is saying that. Okay? So stand by. Everybody settle in. Hit the thumbs up. Do me a favor. Here is unhinged Donald Trump today with ridiculous claims to change the subject from Epstein to Barack Obama. Here it is.
After what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people.
Whether it's right or wrong.
Been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about. I know nothing about the other, but I think it's appropriate that they do go.
May I ask you about that, Mr. President? Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper. The whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room.
Pause,
right here.
This man is, wow. I mean, it's so obviously deranged and false, and it's such a huge conspiracy theory that I cannot believe. Maybe some of the MAGA faithful or the conspiracy theorists or the QAnoners type MAGA lunatics, maybe they'll fall for it. But you're right, Fran Arrington. Epstein. And the reason that he's doing this is because he wants to change, again, Epstein. He is so desperate. What is in those files, y'all? What doesn't he not want people to know? Look at him. And people actually believe this person. Now, we're going to talk about this criminal referral that Pam Bondi has sent. And we're going to talk about the merits of all of that. But again, I want you have to hear this. I'm sorry that you have to hear it, but you got to hear it. I'm sorry to play this and that because I know his voice grates and all of that. You got to hear it, okay? It's for your own good and for you to be an informed citizen. Keep going.
This was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up that came out of the vaults. They were there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do. But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him?
Pause.
And
yeah, someone who's more popular than you and more well-liked than you. Okay. Y'all know what this sounds like, right? What the fuck is he even talking about, Ketga? You're right. What is he talking about? How many of you have kids or you have grandkids or you work with kids? And when they did something wrong, they can have the Cheetos all over their face. They can have the Cheetos all over his face. Yes, he is sitting in a gold chair, Carol Jones. And tell me he said it was better decorated. This gaudy shit that he has in the White House that came from Home Depot and he's saying better decorated. He has no idea. As I said, money can't buy you class. Thank you, Luann de Lesseps, Countess, the great philosopher. Now, if you work with kids or you have kids, grandkids, or whatever, and you've heard Cheetos all over their face, did you eat the Cheetos? No. Mommy, It's Brad. He did it. Brad came in here and he took the Cheetos and he ate all of the Cheetos. And I saw him and he was waving them around and he was saying that he didn't care if mommy caught him. I didn't eat the Cheetos. But little Donnie, you got Cheetos all over your face and in your hands. And the bag is right next to you. But he put it there. And didn't he put it there for me to do it. He did it, mommy. I'm telling you, it wasn't me. That's how this idiot sounds. And he expects people to believe it. Listen to him. I want you to just listen to his voice, how he sounds. It was him. And he did it. And it was only him. He's a bad man. Back it up just a little bit, Andy. Listen to his voice. Listen.
Leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they look. He's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries.
Pause. Obfuscate. That's the end of that particular soundbite, right?
Yes.
Tell me this man is not unhinged. Come on now. Are you guys listening to this? That is not the end of it. Again, I'm gonna just inform you on some of the things, but I want to get through this because we're gonna have someone who's gonna break this down. A terrific writer and contributor from the Atlantic is coming up a little bit later on in the show. Donald Trump is saying that they have irrefutable proof of what he is saying. Now, listen, he says something again, like he says, obfuscate. We add like an extra syllable there. He does something very similar with the word seditious, but maybe he sounds like he was talking about a gland or something, like a sebaceous gland. Anyway, here it is.
But what we found is even more so. Now, we found absolute, this isn't like evidence, this is like proof, irrefutable proof that Obama was seditious, that Obama was trying to lead a coup and was with Hillary Clinton with all these other people, but Obama headed it up. And, you know, I get a kick when I hear everyone talks about people I never even heard of. It was this one. No, it was Obama. He headed it up. And it says so right in the papers. Got everything. Got everything. This is the biggest scandal in the history of our country. And it really goes on to even the auto pen, because it all relates to the same thing. It all started the same sick minds. You have an auto pen, which is a tremendous, well, we don't have a president, we have an auto pen that signs everything. I'll bet you sign everything. You don't have auto pens. Everybody, who doesn't sign? You're the president of a country. But it's all that whole thing leading right up to the end of it is the auto pen. And the auto pen was used by people, and Biden knew nothing about it. Biden knew nothing about it. They were signing documents that he knew nothing about. As an example, they released the Unselect Committee of Liability. The Unselect Committee spent 2 years grilling everybody, and then they destroyed all the evidence. You know why? Because the evidence made them guilty, and he gave them all a pardon. The Cheney, all the scum that was on the Unselect Committee, crying, Adam Kinzinger, and Democrats.
I mean, you guys have to. Someone said he is confessing. This is his confession. Every accusation is a confession. This is Donald Trump confessing. Oh my gosh. The comedy here. Come on. I cannot. This is unbelievable. Yes. He is confessing. It's freaking insane, as you say. Clown ass president. Thank you very much for that, Rusty Shackelford. Oh my gosh. I imagine that folks like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, first they're like, wait, what? And then they laugh their asses off at the lengths that he will go to, the hoops that he will jump through to try to blame someone else for something that is maybe a confession on his own. Trump says, look, he's going to take this to the limit. And I guess that means he's going to try them and tar and feather them. I don't know, but here he is.
You talked a lot about the severe consequences that those who were involved in the Russia hoax must face. In your view, sir, what are the next steps now that these documents are out there in Tulsi Gabbard?
Well, the Justice Department would have to act. And we have a very competent, very good, very loyal to our country person in Pam Bondi, very respected. And it's going to be her decision.
Just a follow-up to that.
Wow. I just cannot. There's more where that came from. Ben Johnson says, hey, are you familiar with the theory that J.D. Vance and Rupert Murdoch are in the beginning stages of taking him down? I don't know. That's a conspiracy. I don't know, Ben Johnson. I've not heard that. But look, anything is possible these days. I mean, it is just nuts. Anything is possible. I don't know. I've not heard that. Again, I don't want to get involved in conspiracy theories because I do not want to become what I fight against, a conspiracy theorist. Okay, so Matthew Gertz is tweeting this about this bipartisan report. So there's this report that Tulsi Gabbard put out, okay? And Tulsi Gabbard is saying, this is the recommendation, or not the recommendation, but what she's saying about Barack Obama, blah, 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 blah. And so Matthew Gertz is putting out the actual report. The Bipartisan Senate Select Intelligence Committee, bipartisan, helmed at the time by Marco Rubio, on the IC report, at the heart of the Gabbard-Trump attacks on Obama, an impressive accomplishment. No politically motivated pressure, a proper representation of the intelligence. Headed up by the Secretary of State, the one former Senator Marco Rubio. But there was something nefarious going on, according to Tulsi Gabbard, Pam Bondi, and now Donald Trump. Oh my gosh. I can't believe this is so delicious. Will Salatin is responding to this as well. Basically, I'll let you hear him. He's saying that Tulsi Gabbard is a liar.
Gabbard has a long record of trying to exonerate Russia for the 2016 election and for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And that is what she's doing now. Let me show you what I'm talking about. First, here is what Gabbard said 3 years ago when Russia invaded Ukraine.
It could have been avoided if President Biden and NATO had done exactly what you were just talking about in agreeing, hey, we're going to take NATO off the table for Ukraine, something that both the U.S. and NATO have agreed is not likely to ever happen, and something that is a legitimate security concern for Russia.
See, it's our fault. Russia had these legitimate concerns, and that is why they had to attack Ukraine. And then here's what Gabbard said later that year.
Our leaders are saying, well, hey, we can't do anything. This is all in Putin's hands. Well, guess what? The United States, our leaders and European leaders are the ones fueling and funding this war.
You get the picture. Gabbard was just repeating Russian talking points. Okay, so fast forward to this week. Gabbard is now the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, and she puts out a report claiming that in 2017, when our intelligence community published an assessment that Russia interfered in our 2016 election to help Trump, that assessment was, quote, manufactured. And Gabbard keeps using this word manufactured to imply that we fabricated it. Gabbard's report is a total scam.
You're muted, Don.
Her report is a total scam, according to him. We've gone through this before. Tulsi Gabbard has been doing this forever, and now she has been put in a position. I cannot believe that she has been put in the position to be the head of national intelligence. It is shocking, to say the least. Shocking. But as he is pointing out to us here, this is nothing new with Tulsi Gabbard. This is par for the course as it relates to Tulsi Gabbard. And by the way, you want to know, this is official. You guys want to know what Barack Obama had to say about this? Would you like to hear what Barack Obama had to say about this? Because Barack Obama did respond. We'll hear from Barack Obama. Pull it back. We'll hear from Barack Obama right after this break. A word from our sponsors. Here it is. The Don Lemon Show is sponsored today by Chef IQ. You ever find yourself hovering over the grill, sweating through your shirt, flipping a steak over and over, hoping that it's not raw inside? Well, that used to be me. I love to entertain, but I don't love the stress of overcooked chicken or undercooked salmon or an undercooked steak or an overcooked steak. That changed when I found Chef IQ Sense. This thing is brilliant. It is a wireless cooking sensor. I want you to think meat thermometer, but way, way, way smarter than that. You just pop it right into whatever you're cooking. You open the Chef IQ app and choose how you want it done. Medium rare, well done, whatever your vibe is. It tracks your food and it sends an alert right to your phone when it's cooked just right. There's no guessing, there's no cutting into the middle, there's no babysitting the stove. Now I can actually sit and I can talk with guests instead of running back and forth. And listen, there is a flash sale going on right now. 15% off, okay? Just for you, 15% off. So go to chefiq.com and use the promo code LEMON. That's chefiq.com, code LEMON. Your grill game will thank you. 120 Life is also a sponsor of today's show. Now, let me tell you something very personal here. Someone very close to me is struggling. They're struggling with high blood pressure. It's really scary. It can be scary for you as well. 1 in 2 adults in this country has it. That's half of us walking around at risk, and many of us, well, we don't even know it. That's why I'm talking about 120 Life. It is a powerful blend of superfruit juices, natural, delicious, backed by science. You drink it daily, and it helps lower your blood pressure without medication. It's also great for people dealing with things like diabetes. Doctors trust it. People see real, measurable changes. You can use a simple monitor at home and actually see the difference. So try it for yourself and get 20% off with the code DON at 120life.com. That's 120life.com, promo code DON. And if it doesn't work for you in 2 weeks, full refund, no risk, just better health. This is your life. Take care of it. Thank you to our sponsors. Perfect time. So I said, do you want to hear from Barack Obama? Here's what Barack Obama responded today by saying, okay? And this is through a spokesperson. Statement from Patrick Rodenbush, spokesman for President Obama. Out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. But these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. Nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. These findings were affirmed in a 2020 report by the bipartisan Senate Intelligence Commission led by then Chairman Marco Rubio. Perfect time to bring in Mr. Tom Nichols. Tom Nichols, fantastic writer, a fantastic just all-around person, writer over at The Atlantic. Hey, how are you doing, sir? Thank you so much for joining.
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Don.
Thank you. The latest thing you wrote is Presidential Pettiness over at The Atlantic. And one of the latest things that you wrote, having seen what happened today in the Oval Office, I just read the response from Barack Obama. Is this presidential pettiness at its finest? What's going on here?
It's presidential panic. Look, he doesn't care whose lives he endangers. Accusing Barack Obama of treason is the kind of thing that motivates some pretty unhinged folks. And he just doesn't care. I mean, he will throw anything at the wall, or in his case, at the camera and at the microphone, to see what sticks. It's petty in the sense that everything is about his sense of grievance, and in this case, it's about the fact that people, as he said recently, won't effing stop talking about Epstein, which we're not talking about, because we're talking about this kind of appalling, unprecedented accusation. Presidents have made terrible accusations against each other over our history, both running against each other as candidates, but there's always been a certain modicum of respect. Accusing your predecessor of treason was meant to be just a giant cinder block in the pool, to splash everybody and get them to stop talking about the thing Donald Trump wants them to stop talking about, which is, of course, Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein files.
But Mr. Nichols, sir, aren't we still talking about, in a sense, that he's dragging this on by doing this? Because people are still, they're going to associate this as a distraction pretty much, or at least they should. I know that's how we framed it here on the Don Lemon Show. This is a distraction to the Epstein situation. And the more, case in point, the more he tries to distract with other things, he brings more attention to it. This is a Data for Progress tweet for a poll about media and the Epstein coverage. And if you look at it, it says, a new poll, despite the president's Trump's best efforts to distract from the Epstein files, the Epstein case was the top news story for voters last week. 37% of voters have now heard a lot about the files, up from 25%. And then you can look at it. If there's, I think there's a full screen of the same poll, but if you look at this, look at it. Epstein by far is the story. And had he not handled it the way that he handled it, I doubt that we would be talking this much about the Epstein files. So he is keeping it going.
Yeah, I mean, apparently no one's ever explained the Streisand effect
to him,
Donald Trump. But two things, Don. One is, I said it's his strategy. I didn't say it was a smart strategy.
Okay.
He's hoping that's where it goes. But also, I think that for some of the people in his movement, they'll take any life preserver that's thrown into the water and anything at this point to distract themselves from the fact that this time, more than any other of all the times he's ever lied to them, this time it really seems to bite. But you're right. By saying outrageous things, people, at least as you just put it, Don, they should understand this connection, right? To say, why would you come out of nowhere, completely out of left field, and accuse Barack Obama of treason? And there's really only one good reason for that, and it's because you want to get people to stop using the word that everybody keeps using, which is Epstein. So not a smart strategy, but he's desperate. I mean, he's flailing.
Yeah, as you have been writing about this, and I'm sure you read the Wall Street Journal report, which Donald Trump is now suing over, and folks are saying, "Oh, well, Rupert Murdoch, he's going to do whatever." It would be I'd be hard pressed to believe that Rupert Murdoch, who was obviously aware of this story, and the Wall Street Journal would put their credibility on the line for something that is bogus, and then turn around and make a settlement for it. Anything is possible, but you've been in this business a long time. What do you think of that?
Well, I never rule out that Donald Trump somehow can shake settlements out of people. We've seen that sad story over and over again. But I would say a couple of things about the Wall Street Journal story. One is, no one should imagine that the guys at the Journal said, this may not be totally solid, but let's just take a flyer on it with the most litigious president in history. This, in a way, I think this is sometimes called the National Enquirer effect, right? After the National Enquirer got sued, their reporting actually was pretty solid because they didn't want to ever get sued again. And Donald Trump has threatened to sue people that so often that, outlets now say, no, I'm sure the guys at the Journal said, of course he's going to sue us. Of course that he's going to threaten a lawsuit. But the other thing that strikes me is these lawsuits never come to fruition. They don't go anywhere. They get dismissed or they get settled. I mean, does Donald Trump really want to go through discovery about whether he was sending bawdy birthday cards to Jeffrey Epstein? I doubt it. And it's interesting that the White House is challenging the Wall Street Journal to say this isn't true. When he challenged the Atlantic, my magazine, and challenged our editor-in-chief to say, well, you didn't really, there was nothing in these texts. And, the magazine said, well, all right, here they are. He's kind of running that risk again, saying, all right, well, you want to see the evidence? Here's the evidence. So I think, again, a strategy, maybe not a smart strategy, but I think it's indicative of how panicky he is. Donald Trump always seems kind of generally fearful to me. I know his followers think he's very brave and tough and manly and all that. To me, he always seems like he's constantly trying to dodge problems. And I think this time he really seems to project a sense of panic in the way he's reacting to this. So maybe that's where it's coming from. But I can't imagine the Journal, like I said, that the Journal said, well, flip a coin. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. We'll publish it anyway. I mean, that's not the way any major newspaper in this country works.
Look, let me just say this. I'll just be honest. I don't know how far you'll go, but I mean, you heard him in the Oval Office. Have you seen the sound bites, or either you watched it live? I'm not sure how the networks covered it, the cable folks. But did you hear his comments in the Oval Office today?
Not today. No.
About Barack Obama? And
of course. Oh, about treason? Oh,
yeah.
I mean, when you say, did you hear the president's comments today? You have to kind of be specific about which set of shocking things. Yeah, of course. And to me, that just came across as panicky.
Was it unhinged?
Let's see what sticks.
It seems to be more unhinged, and he seemed like a kid getting caught with his hand in the cookie jar and saying, "No, mommy, it wasn't me. I did not eat the cookies, and you have cookie crumbs all over your face. It was, it was my sibling who did it." It sounded really unhinged to me. Yeah,
Donald Trump has in moments like this. That's what I mean about, I've always been kind of mystified. I've written about this, about why people think, he's strong or forceful. At moments like this, childlike is the word that always comes to my mind, that he's kind of sullen, like he's a kind of sullen little boy who doesn't want to have to explain himself and can't believe that, he's getting called out on this stuff. But there is more to it. And I think you're right. I mean, it does seem like the past few days are just more unhinged. It's just weirder. I mean, we've priced in a certain amount of Donald Trump's behavior. When you watch him at a rally, or you watch him giving a presser in the Oval Office, it seems like that's actually gone up a few notches, even by his standards, for the past few days.
This is I'm going to put up this tweet about the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, that Donald Trump, or tweet, or whatever you want to call it. "We have the greatest 6 months of any president in the history of our country, and all the fake news wants to talk about is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax." First of all, Jeffrey Epstein is not a hoax. The man was prosecuted, right? Found guilty, went to prison, and then killed himself. Okay. Ghislaine Maxwell is now in prison, which they want to interview her for being associated with it, for her ties to this alleged behavior, or just behavior, because they've been found guilty. So how is this a hoax? And he's the one who's bringing the most attention to it. I don't understand the logic here. And perhaps, Tom, there is no logic here. We're looking for some sort of logic in something that's just illogical.
There is a habit he has here, and he's hoping that it works again. When you first look at this, you say, wow, we've had, the president saying, we've had the best 6 months we've ever had. And you would think he would say, for example, and then not use the words Jeffrey Epstein. Because again, it's the Streisand effect. It's like, why won't people stop talking about the name I keep using? But one of the things that Trump does, the way he kind of sells this to his audience, is to take the thing he doesn't like and attach the word hoax to it and get people to repeat that, to internalize it. So the Russia scandal wasn't a scandal, it was a hoax. And now if you talk to MAGA friends, or you're on social media, everybody has figured out, you say Russia, you attach the word hoax. And if you talk about Stormy Daniels, you attach the word hoax. Unfortunately, you can only use that so many times before hoax, for most people who see it, becomes a word that means something that is true about Donald Trump. But remember, he's always playing to a different audience. He's always playing to that MAGA faithful. not just because he needs their adoration, but because those are the primary voters that scare the elected Republicans into staying in line. So if he can get them to say, to keep repeating, Jeffrey Epstein hoax, Jeffrey Epstein hoax, he might get some traction out of that. I don't think it's going to work. In this case, it did work with Russia. That people, people who have never read the Mueller report and never will say Russia hoax. It just rolls off the tongue as if it's all one word. But I think that's probably, if we're trying to kind of figure out what Donald Trump's doing here, even though it seems irrational, it makes sense if you understand that he's talking to his base and he's trying to kind of imprint the words Epstein hoax in their prefrontal cortex.
I'll tell you though, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Say again.
I said whether it'll work in this case, I don't know, but I think that's what he's trying to do.
Okay, thank you. So listen, I don't believe it's going to work either, because some of the MAGA faithful, the people who stood behind him, and oftentimes these folks also trafficked in conspiracy theories. Perhaps they're upset because they're losing one of their main conspiracy theories that have really garnered them so much money and so many clicks, and that is the sort of manosphere, or even women, this sort of streaming area of the business now, where people don't have to abide by facts. And so you don't have sensitive ears, do you? I just want to make sure I don't want to offend your sensibilities. Okay, Nick.
We're an R-rated studio here. We're okay.
So Nick Fuentes, right? Who has been a Trump stan forever. This is what Nick Fuentes is saying about this. Here it is.
And now 10 years into this, we get, oh, Epstein's, that's all fake. Here's the MLK files that you wanted. And you go, really? Fuck you. Really? You bury the Epstein files as if that's not bad enough. You're going to lie to our faces, tell us it's a Democrat hoax. If you're not going to go with the lie, you're not a real supporter. You're not a real one. Oh, and now, well, here's some MLK files that are a load of shit. Isn't this what you wanted? We're the most transparent administration in history. And you go, fuck you. What do you mean? What a lie. You're lying. You know you're lying. You're lying to our face. You know we know you're lying. You don't even care. You're just giving us the finger and rubbing it in our faces.
It's very interesting to me, Tom, because I mean, when would the Democrats, or just folks who believe in democracy, would find themselves kind of agreeing with Nick Fuentes on this? I mean, we're at a strange time. What do you say to that response?
Well, this is that internet meme of, the worst person has just made a really good point kind of problem. He's not wrong. But the reason I think this is biting is that for all of the pretending that the MAGA movement was about taxes, or the culture wars, or trans people, or any of that stuff, it shows you that they really never cared about policy. They don't really care if Trump I think he's reversed himself something like 25 or 30 times on tariffs, for example. And his movement doesn't care. The tax cuts, the relief for the working and the middle class, none of that's going to happen. For the bill's gone through. It's going to help rich people. No, nobody really cares about that. But the one thing that was inviolable is this sense that Donald Trump was the cruise missile aimed at shadowy elites somewhere, that Trump was different from them. And even though he was part of that elite world, he was the perfect weapon against these terrible elites who are doing terrible things. And he encouraged that. The people around him encouraged that. That was the one thing they really did care about and really did count on him to do. And now they feel stupid. Now they feel lied to. Now they know. I mean, when you've got Nick Fuentes yelling at you about how you screwed the MAGA movement over, at least some of them in that movement kind of get it now.
Yeah.
That the one thing they counted on turned out to be a lie. And worse than a lie, Trump is behaving in a way that makes his supporters at least think, and I think almost any reasonable observer looking at his behavior, that makes people think he's not only lying about this, but he seems to be involved in it in some way. Like the people we wanted him to get, he's part of that world. He's one of them, and he's protecting all of them, including himself. That's you can do a lot of things to piss off MAGA world, but I think that was a step too far for Trump. And I think he just didn't. I think for once Donald Trump's instincts failed him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you after this, Tehu is in the chat saying Fuentes is a hack. We know that. But just to see him speak this way is, I think it's something that we should, that is remarkable. Speaking of which, in the similar vein of your previous response, when you've lost Candace Owens, roll it.
On Thursday, Trump begrudgingly ordered Pam Bondi to move a judge to unseal the grand jury testimonies related to the Epstein case. Now, I want to be clear, absolutely nothing is going to come of that, and I'll explain why. But the point here is that MAGA revolted against Trump, and we won. But the question lingers, why? Why has it come to this, right? Like, what are we doing here? What is Trump hiding? Why is he going down like this over Jeffrey Epstein? Trump is playing games. He is. I'm sorry. He is flat out playing games right now. In fact, he's doing that thing that we always felt the press was doing to Trump supporters, thinking that we're stupid. Going, okay, they don't know much about how the law works. If I just say I'm going to unseal something, then it looks like I'm acting. And then I'm going to call everybody who doesn't agree with that a troublemaker. He knows exactly what he's doing. What is the connection between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump? Because clearly there is something here that gives him pause.
Again, these are the people who carried Donald Trump's water for quite some time. And there you go.
Yeah, but I think one thing you're seeing here, look, these are all younger folks who figured out, I mean, it's always struck me that the MAGA influencer movement has a lot of young people in it who somehow figured out that sort of being hateful and racist and saying terrible things was a great gig. It was like, it was a quick way to fame and money and prominence. And, you know, they're going to be around. I think some of them are making the calculation of saying, you know, we're going to be around long after Donald Trump's gone. And, you know, if this ship, if their audience is going to have a falling out with Donald Trump, they don't want to go. There's no real loyalty to Donald Trump here. I mean, I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Is they've just figured out, look, whatever keeps me on TV, whatever keeps the money coming in, whatever keeps them buying my, you know, supplements or whatever they're hawking. You know, if Donald Trump is going to go down over this, they don't want to be anchored to that ship. They're going to say, you know, they need to be able to retain their audience when this is over. So I suspect that some of them, at least, are making a very savvy business decision here to say, you know, we can lose Donald Trump, but we can't lose our audience because that audience thrives on conspiracy theories.
It's very interesting that you're saying that because I thought the same thing. People have been asking me. I've been appearing on a number of folks' podcasts, and I was like, they realize that they have to save their own credibility, right? They have to somehow fix things because this is what they've trafficked in, and now Donald Trump is taking that away from them, and in a way, they are being exposed themselves. Real quickly, just two things I want to ask you, if you can answer quickly. Do you think that Rupert Murdoch is going to settle? Again, you said there's a world where you can't, you know, Donald Trump can always shake a settlement out of some people. You think Rupert will?
Don, that's so far beyond my competence. I'm not a business writer, you know, and also, you know, I'm loath to make a prediction because we've already seen major media outlets that had really winnable cases. Just decide to say, you know,
even with this, if I hate to cut you off here, but people, you know, whether it's true or not, look, at the end of the day, it should be true. But when it's a public figure and the way our libel and slander laws work here, as long as it wasn't done with malice, meaning that they, you know, they knew it was fraudulent and they wrote about it or they put it up anyways, right? They published it anyways. And so again, that is a winnable case, even if it turns out that the Wall Street Journal story is completely not factual. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
I mean, they would, even if the Wall Street Journal made a mistake,
right.
You don't win a defamation suit because of a mistake. You have to show malice and recklessness and all this other stuff. It's really hard to win for a public figure, especially to win a defamation suit in the United States. Pretty hard. Yeah. But you know, these other companies that have settled, they have other business interests that they want Donald Trump to keep his hands out of. So I don't know if Murdoch has something else where he's just going to say, listen, just make him. I think this is what happened early on with some of the suits from like universities where they said, look, just give him enough money, make him go away, and he'll get obsessed with something else down the line. But you know, people, what's the old lesson about paying the Danegeld, paying the blackmail. They always come back for a second bite. So I just don't know. I mean, it seems to me like I can't imagine why any newspaper would pay off a suit that Donald Trump has no hope of winning. But I think we've seen, weirder stuff happen over the past 6 months. So.
And last but not least, can we just give a toast to Ozzy Osbourne? I always have a soft spot in my heart for Ozzy. He was a real one, an original, interesting. You wanted to hear him, watch him. And by the way, I know he's a great, I guess it was heavy metal. Is that what you consider him? But he really started this whole reality family TV show before even the Kardashians. So, a man of many hats. So shout out to Ozzy Osbourne.
Rest in peace, Ozzy.
Tom, you're a good sport. Thank you. All right. Be well. Come back, please, anytime. We'd love to have you, and keep doing the great work that you're doing over at The Atlantic. Mr. Tom Nichols, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So there you go. We have lots more to talk about here. And you guys were great with Tom. I think Tom is a fantastic person. By the way, the engagement is amazing today. I am almost in the verge of tears because I'll tell you later. But it's just just when we say hit the thumbs up, it's really important for you to do so. Thank you for becoming a new member. Thank you for subscribing to the Don Lemon Show. By the way, there should be a link, a new link that we put at the top of the chat that takes you directly to our memberships and to the subscription thing as well. So just make sure you do that. In the meantime, okay, I have so much to tell you guys about. You're going to hear about so much that is going on in the world. How a Republican senator shared a fake resignation letter. We're going to hear from Mr. Tim Miller over at the Bulwark. And then we're going to tell you what is happening with Mike Johnson, Magic Mike Johnson over in the House, what he's doing in all of this, and his lack of transparency. But first, a word from our sponsors. Today's show is also sponsored by ZBiotics. Now, let me tell you about a little secret that I use before nights out. It's called ZBiotics. It is a pre-alcohol probiotic that actually helps you feel good the next day. I just tried it before a dinner party. I had my usual tequila, blood orange, all right? And the next morning, I woke up feeling really fresh, no fog, no sluggishness, just good. Now, here's why. When you drink, your body creates a toxic byproduct. Not the alcohol itself, but what it turns into. ZBiotics helps break that down in your gut before it becomes a problem. It is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, and it works. So before your next barbecue, your next sunset cocktail, your next cookout, your next wine night at the beach, make ZBiotics your first drink. Then wake up ready to take on the day. So go to zbiotics.com/lemon and use code LEMON for 15% off. That's zbiotics.com/lemon and use the code LEMON. Lean is also a sponsor of today's show. So look, not everybody wants needles. Not everybody wants prescriptions. And not everybody, let's just be honest, can afford those trendy weight loss shots. They're expensive. But if you are looking for a natural way to manage cravings and shed a few pounds, Lean might be what you're waiting for. It is packed with ingredients like caralluma. It is an edible cactus from India that helps control appetite. I have been learning more and more about it. And let me just tell you, this isn't just some gimmick, okay? It is science-backed and designed to help with fat metabolism and blood sugar too. I've been using it. I lost a couple pounds, you can see. The doctors behind it say it is the closest thing that they have created to mimic the benefits of those expensive injections, but with zero needles, just a daily supplement. So if you got a summer goal, I want you to start here. Here's what you do. Go to takelean.com and use the code LEMON20 for 20% off. That's TAKELEAN.com, code LEMON20, lemon20, okay? You've got this, and this time it's natural. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And while I was waiting just for those 2 minutes or so, I was talking to the folks over on TikTok. So if you're joining us on TikTok, make sure you smash the screen, hit the hearts. If you're joining us here on YouTube as well, make sure you hit the thumbs up. We have more show to go. And follow us no matter which platform that you're on. If you're watching us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Substack, make sure you join us, okay? Make sure you become a member or subscribe to our channels and also to our social media. So we're glad that everyone is here. The engagement is fantastic today, and you guys know what's up. Like, join, and subscribe, says Catherine W. Thank you very much, Catherine W. And by the way, welcome to, let me welcome some real quick before we get out here. Welcome Marilyn, who became a member. Someone else became a member, and anyway, so welcome to our new members. There you go. Bugs B 1010. Welcome to the Lemonation. Welcome to all of our new members. And again, thank you. That's how we stay viable on these streets, is that way. Also, we would love for you, again, to be a member and also subscribe as well. I'll tell you about our merch store. People are asking me about this hat that I'm wearing and this one that I often wear here, to where you can get it, and the class that I use. They also ask me what I'm sipping on. I'll tell you all that later. Okay, so anyways, thank you guys. Now, back to the program. Let's talk about what's going on. Tim Miller is talking about this whole, Pam Bondi and 1,000 men investigating Epstein. What happened here? They were I guess they were combing through information to see, I guess, if they could find out if there was any mention of Donald Trump. I'm going to let Tim Miller over at the Bulwark explain. Here it is.
The Dick Durbin letter over the weekend. He writes this: according to information my office received, the FBI was pressured to put approximately 1,000 personnel in its information management division on 24-hour shifts to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records. This effort, which reportedly took place from March 14th through the end of March, was haphazardly supplemented by hundreds of FBI New York field office personnel. My office was told that these personnel were instructed to flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. So talking about the cover-up part of this, it would be one thing if it was like, oh, the DOJ, they'd been lying this whole time about Epstein, and they didn't really even look at it that deeply. And they're just like, sorry, guys, turns out we're not going to investigate this after all. Again, that still would have been a huge controversy in MAGA world, but okay. But that is not what it seems like happened. It seems like they spent huge amounts of government resources to go through everything. And then once they saw what was in there, decided not to release it, possibly because of the extent of how many records
there you go
mentioned Donald Trump, and which now we presume they have like a file, a catalog of the times Trump was mentioned. And if he was flagged, right, then at some level somebody was collecting all of those flags.
Okay, so there you go. Anyway,
Actually,
that's Tim Miller over at the Bulwark, and then he'll respond. But look, that's what Tim Miller thinks, and there are a lot of people who are thinking on conspiratorial in that vein, because there's no information, real information that they're giving. Why won't they release the files? All that it's left to is imagination, and I believe conspiracy, because people don't know. Conjecture. It's all you need to do is release the information, and that will answer every single question. And this whole thing about, well, we're going to release the grand jury, the sealed grand jury, that's not going to do anything. I mean, you even heard Candace Owens say it herself. That is not going to do anything at all. That's a head fake to think that that's going to mean something. That's not what people want. That's not what many of the MAGA faithful want as well. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this. We reported it earlier. The Daily Beast, here it is. Johnson shuts down the House to flee Epstein's questions. So what had happened was they voted the House on subpoenaing Ghislaine Maxwell. And once that happened, after the House voted, what did Magic Mike Johnson do? Boom. Shut it down. You're not going to see any more information about this or any more movement, at least from the House, until September, until they're back from break. They're not the only ones reporting it as well. The Daily Beast is saying, that's the Daily Beast, I'm sorry. Brian Schatz, who is a Republican, is saying this. Here's what Brian Schatz is. He's a Republican. By the way, Brian Schatz wants to come on the program.
Sorry, Don. Senator Schatz is a Democrat.
Senator Schatz, sorry about that. Brian Schatz, I'm thinking of the other guy from this morning, who is a Democrat. Shutting down the United States House of Representatives to avoid a vote on the Epstein matter should cause everyone to recalibrate their conspiracy meter from a 6 out of 10 to a 8.5 out of 10. shutting down the House. To Brian Schatz said, thank you, Peter. I didn't realize that I made that mistake. But there was one Republican that they're calling the worst Republican because he is voting along with the Democrats. And that's Thomas Massey. Boy, oh boy, this is where we are right now. And then you have, this is a Republican senator as well. Perhaps that was in my mind. Mike Lee. This is another distraction on behalf of Donald Trump and the MAGA folks. Remember when we were wondering how far will Donald Trump go in order to do what? To divert attention away from himself and the Epstein story to something else. Will he fire the Fed chair, Jerome Powell? Well, the Republican Senator Mike Lee fell for it, Utah. Here's what he said. This is a letter that he somehow found. I don't know where he found this in the bowels of the internets. Perhaps someone sent it to him. Dear Mr. President, after much reflection, I've decided to resign. So this is a letter apparently that he has decided to resign because Donald Trump, I would imagine, pushed him out. Signed Jerome Powell. Well, he thought it was real. It's a fake. And look at the seal. These people are crazy and they will do anything to deflect attention. That is an AI generated seal on a letter. And that's where we end up today. By the by, man, so thank you for paying attention to all of that. But Russian seal, someone said. Is it a Russian seal? I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention to it. Just it looks fake to me. We're losing all the wrong people. I mean, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and then also Ozzy Osbourne. Did I send you guys? I did not send you. I got to show you something. Can we please stop this? As soon as we get this, guys, I just want you to put it up, Andy, as soon as you get it. Because can we please stop doing things like this? And we're always doing things like this for a certain ethnicity of people, pretty much. I don't know why well, I know why it happens. Maybe people won't admit they know why it happens. But can we just stop this, please? And you can put it up as soon as you get it. But this was, I believe, right? Did you guys see it yet? Is it up there? So this was Hollywood. This is Us Weekly. Hollywood is mourning the Cosby Show actor Malcolm Jamal Warner, who died on Sunday, July 20th at the age of 54. Now, that is not Malcolm Jamal Warner. Theo on the Cosby Show looked nothing like that. That's Urkel. That's Jaleel White. This happens with a lot of folks, man, of color. Somebody always gets it wrong. It is amazing. And I think it's disrespectful. And don't they have a Google, or maybe their person, I don't know if it's AI or somebody, they're thinking that this is the same person, but damn, I'm sure Us Weekly corrected it. I'm just saying, but wow. Allegedly, reportedly, this is what they had up. That's Urkel. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. So just in case you were wondering, Donald Trump is grasping at straws, as Tom Nichols saying, throwing spaghetti against the wall, and it's embarrassing. It is unhinged. Okay. So here's the thing. I want you guys to know this is where you can get us if you are interested in finding out what's on the show, anything about the show, anything about, you've been asking me about these hats and all this stuff. You can go to donlemon.com. If you go to donlemon.com, what you can do is click on that watch link, and it'll take you right to our YouTube page. This is where our main show is. You can subscribe, you can join as well, and then we have a join button at the top of the chat. It should be, takes you right straight there. Okay. And or you can, if you want to, you can click on store there. Once you get on that page, you can click on store. That'll take you to our merch store. If you back out, if you are you just want to go straight to merch or any place that we are streaming, click on merch. It'll take you right to the merch store. Okay. Just go to donlemon.com. Okay. Back out of that. And then if you want our Substack, okay, just go to donlemon.com, click on Substack. And there is our Substack right there. And it says that we are live on the Substack right now. And there you see the show delayed a little bit so we're live there as well. We're not going to be live there all the time. Pretty soon you're going to have to pay for it on Substack. By the way, I want to show you this too. D.L. Hughley and I are going to be August 12th, right here in New York City at City Winery in New York City. The tickets are selling. Had a call with the person at City Winery last night. She said you're ahead of where you were the last one, episode 1 of DL and DL, anything goes. And so tickets are selling out, and get them now or you won't be able to go. And then you'll hear about the great time that we had and you won't have made it. 7:30 on August 12th, City Winery in New York City. Doors open at 6 p.m. Usually people come early. They have a cocktail or two. They eat and whatever. They commune, they talk, they chat. Little music is played. We have a great time. And then the show happens. I do my thing about news, and I do something, that's a little cerebral, and people are like, oh, wow. And they learn stuff about me. And then DL does a full comedy routine. And then we sit down and we talk to each other. And then we take questions and comments from the audience, which is amazing. And we have a surprise guest. Last time our surprise guest was Joy Reid. We can't tell you this time because it's got to be a surprise. Okay, so that is August 12th, City Winery in New York City, 7:30. It starts 6 p.m. The doors open. Okay, so I love you guys. I'm going to say the reason that I was so heartened by it, because it's supposed to be the summer doldrums, and we think people are going to just dial out and do their thing. But you guys have been consistent. And I remember when we first started, just a little bit over a year ago, because we didn't do the live shows in the beginning. So it's about a year or so. And we would start and we're like, we're going to do a live show. Nobody knew about it. And we would get, sometimes a couple hundred people, a couple thousand people. Our friends over at the Midas Touch helped us a little bit in the beginning helped us a lot, we should say. I love those guys. They would send their audience over to come watch. They were just very collegial and friendly and amazing. Okay. So we get a couple thousand, like maybe we say 1,000, 2,000 or whatever. And we would get, oh, wow, this is great. And now, sometimes we have 10, 20, 30, 40,000. I think we maybe had like 49 or 50,000. This is all at once. I just mean at one time. And that doesn't mean that's the entirety of the show. That's just over the span of folks who are tuning in, because people keep tuning in and tuning in and tuning in the longer that we're on. And some of the shows ends up with a couple 100,000, some of them end up with close to 1 million or whatever, just people watching. So the fact that we have built this is just amazing. And even with people, we have our haters, we have our detractors, we love our trolls, our MAGA trolls, and our people who hate us and tell us that we couldn't do it in the chats, because we like to show them we did, and we are. So thank you guys. Thank you, Lemon Nation. Let's get to 800,000. We're closing in on 1 million subscribers. So get us there. Make sure you subscribe. Send our information. Take the link to our show page, and send it to your friends and tell them to come over and subscribe. Okay. And become a member, become a part of the Lemon Nation. You too can be a Lemonhead. So as I always say to you guys, you're informed now. You're informed without being inundated. We laughed. We cried. We got great information. So don't sit in front of the television and just be outraged all the time. You can be informed without being inundated. Until I see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, live here on the Don Lemon channel, the Don Lemon Show. Turn the TV off. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never, ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support.